Okay, let's go.
Hello there, Chick Chat. We're back with Teen Mom episode 6, and this wasn't really a thrilling episode, so this probably will be a pretty short video. But we did start with Jade and Sean, and they're talking about this damn school thing again. I thought we already made a decision last episode, but apparently we're still on the homeschool thing. They're just trying to get her into a different school. They're doing a school interview, I believe it was.
I think it's a private school. I'm pretty sure in a public school you can just enroll your child as long as they're of age. So I think she's going to a private school. They're working on getting her enrolled. Jade is talking to her friends about getting a real estate license and how she thinks that Sean needs some space to be able to go back to work and not be teaching their daughter kindergarten or whatever grade she's in. I think it will be great for them all to have their own lane to live in.
I wonder what back to work means for Sean. That's all I want to know.
Did he work? Maybe she's referring to his little J situation.
Maybe.
Back to work. But I don't know. So
maybe she's referring to Call of Duty. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, good for Jade. She's acquiring all these licenses and all these skills. I think she made the point either in this scene or later on in the episode, but she said something like somebody's got to be at home. And I think that that's true, especially if there's someone working more than one job. So somebody has to be available. I get that Chloe's going to be in school for some hours of the day, but somebody has to be available to pick her up and take her to appointments and cook for her and play with her and take care of her, especially if Jade's working 2 jobs now, and especially real estate too. With doing hair and things like that, you can book people within regular business hours, but people want to see houses at weird hours as soon as it's on the market or after work sometime or on the weekends. It's not regular hours for real estate whatsoever. And you have to be ready to just pull out your laptop and write up an offer at basically any given time. So I don't know how Jade thinks that Sean's going to go out and have some kind of like a label 9 to 5 or anything.
One of my mother-in-laws is a real estate agent and she does really well, but she'll randomly have to pull out her laptop or text the client, or there's always something that she's got going on because it is very irregular. It's an interesting kind of job, but yeah, I don't know if that's what she meant by Sean getting back to work, is him just doing what he was already doing. But, you know, whatever, it's conflicting as usual.
Chloe goes to school. I thought it was really funny to see Jade and Sean take her to school. And Sean was like, "You'll be okay. You got your new shoes. You got your smart brain." Would she forget her other brain or something? I don't know. It was just crazy. But I will say congrats to Jade, because by the end of the episode, she's already closed on her first house, which I think is more accomplishment in real estate that Jade's had than Leah ever.
Why would you bring up Leah? Poor Leah, the girls' mom ain't even in this episode.
I don't care. I feel like Jade is over here just like doing whatever she wants. Leah can't even get herself to the testing center.
I think she's in Indiana too, and Leah's in West Virginia, so they're pretty much on equal playing field, I think. I wonder how close Jade lives to Amber. That's the question. If she lives in Indiana. I think she does live in Indiana.
But yeah, that's pretty much where they leave it for us with Jade's story for this episode. I don't really know why she's in this episode, but she's got a real estate license and she's pushing Sean to do some kind of work.
She wants some kind of check, but all I was hoping for was to see Christy. But, you know, whatever.
I haven't seen her in all season yet.
No one been around to say it's hotter than a bitch. Nothing.
Oh, we saw her at the wedding. She almost went to jail.
Well, yeah, but she was barely there either.
That's true. We have Kate next, and their scenes pretty much revolve around Veda, which I actually liked seeing Veda because usually we see Nova most of the time, and it was just nice to see some of the younger kiddos because we never really see them so much. I have mixed feelings always about putting the kids' personal business out here. Veda needs an IEP, which is an individualized education plan. It's not super uncommon for kids to have, but usually it means that there's some kind of flexibility that's needed, whether that's because there's a behavioral problem or an emotional problem or learning, you know, I shouldn't say problem, but just they need more time or flexibility. They go to get this assessment done to figure out what needs to be put in the individualized education plan. And after the evaluation, Kate is basically hysterical, which I think is normal. All moms who care about their kids are going to feel really freaked out when something different happens. Kate's had a couple kids by now. She's asking all the other girls on Teen Mom. They've never had IEPs for their kids. So it is not a super typical thing to happen. So she's kind of freaking out. She doesn't want any of these things to impede her daughter's life or her education in any way. And Tyler is basically talking her off the ledge. He's reading from this assessment. She excels in this and she is normal in everything. It's just speech. It sounds like Ada is getting overstimulated in the classroom sometimes when there's a lot of noise. There is a place that she can go to have some more quiet time and have headphones on her ears. And she actually takes herself there unprompted and then comes back when she's ready to return, which is
that's amazing.
Like, that's what you go teach kids to do in therapy, is to figure out how to do that. So I think she is gotta be doing fine.
Right.
She's gotta be fine.
Yeah. And I think at first Kate and even maybe Tyler were confused on what an IEP even is. And they were thinking she was being tested for autism and stuff. And they were like, no, we don't really do that. They were wondering about that. And I get that that can be a concern, especially for a lot of parents with young kids when they have neurological issues or when they're having tantrums. You know, people are
when
scared
there's
of
any
that.
delays, I feel like the first thing people go to is autism, because it's more well known for people to look for those. Yes, now for people to look for those signs. Those things are all learning impairments on their own. A speech delay can just be a speech delay. A behavioral problem, tantrums, those can just be those things sometimes too. So
well, and autism isn't usually something that gets diagnosed super, super young. I mean, it can, especially these days. But I mean, my brother has autism and was misdiagnosed many times when he was a child. Mind you, this was the 90s and the 80s. But it's one of those things where he was really diagnosed when he was a little bit older. Right. You know, it's like you said, those things could just be circumstantial. Like my nephew had a speech delay. He didn't really talk. When he said words, they didn't really make sense for quite a few years. And we knew he didn't have autism, but he had a speech delay. So he had to work with a speech therapist, and he talks now. He doesn't stop talking. I can't get that damn kid to shut up. So it's one of those things where it's like, sometimes you just got to let time handle things. And if it does come out that she does have autism, it's not the end of the world either. There's so many more resources for autism than when my brother was growing up. Trust me. And people are a lot more aware.
Yeah.
And it's a spectrum thing. So you could be very functionable. I mean, my brother has a biology degree, but he is very socially awkward and he gets high anxiety and he has to have a routine. You could go on a spectrum, you know, she's not incapable. And just like Tyler says, he was reading off all these things, you know, she's smart. She does this. She's doing that. She's doing this great. She's even, like you said, going off and getting into this little
regulating her emotions.
Yes. She knows her emotions. So Tyler and Kate do this cute little thing where they make a little corner in her room. And I thought that was just the sweetest thing. I know that kids can really just go off into their room anyways to be alone. That is a kid's quiet spot normally, is their room or whatever. But I like that they made a little corner for her and that she could actually put her emotions up there. She gets her headphones. And I think that that's a really great step. But I do think it wouldn't hurt to go see a speech therapist. I know April, what did April say? We're just talking to April about it.
That makes me mad that April is like, I would just wait, because just like we both said, a lot of these things are individual things. It doesn't always mean autism, but if you can go get these skills, if you can get an interventionist, if you can spend an hour a week or so, however long, to get your child in a position where they're in a more typical place with their development, why would you not do that? Because if she's not able to communicate or has a delay in her communication or doesn't have as many words as her friends have, that is going to frustrate her. That is going to cause behavioral problems. Then she's going to have a reputation with her students around her and the teachers. And what if she gets in trouble at school? Why would you not do everything you can to correct that problem? Especially Kate and Kai. They have all the resources in the world. Even if they don't have it in their pocket, MTV will foot the bill if they have a real problem with their kids. So I get mad about April. I could go on and on because I just think that's lazy ass parenting. And it's lazy ass grandparenting too. It's not even your business. It's not coming out of your pocket. It's not coming out of your time. Yes, support your child and doing everything they can to make their child better. What the hell?
Right. I mean, we freaking love grandma. Don't want advice from her. We don't want advice from her, but we freaking love grandma. It seems like they're handling this Veda situation very well, as usual. Tyler should just be a therapist, but you know, that's neither here or there.
Right.
So we'll move on from Kate.
We'll talk about Bri next. Her mom is still in rehab, so she calls Jade, who is well versed in having a mom in rehab, to talk about her problems with her mom in rehab.
Jade does recommend the Al-Anon meetings. I think they've been really helpful for Jade. And Brianna decides to get a hold of Brittany and see if she wants to do the Al-Anon meeting with her. And they do. At first, Brittany was like, well, my problem isn't with her addiction. My problem is with her in general. And I understand that.
Sounds like Roxanne has been in active or recovery part of addiction for their whole life. So I would argue that any parenting, good, bad, in between, the whole thing has to do with her addiction.
Oh, I'm sure. And that's the thing is if she was taking whatever stuff she's on now, if she started taking it when she was pregnant with Brittany, it has almost everything to do with her decisions the rest of her life. I mean, she's been on that stuff for over probably 35 years now almost.
32 years is what she said. Bri had talked to her aunt or something and said that she's been on and off of it since she had Brittany, and Brittany is 32.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's a long time to be on that stuff. It really is. And I guess maybe that's why
time to get off.
Build up this rapport so she can go get her pills in a pill container instead of going to the dang clinic every day. Girl, there comes a time where you got to get off that stuff too. Eventually, you think 20 years ago, but I don't know. To each their own. I do think that it's doing Brittany a disservice by not acknowledging that the addiction could also affect her relationship with her mom as well. Roxanne's been addicted to something her whole life because she's using this other stuff. She's addicted to it. You know, that's why she needs to take it.
That stuff is addictive.
Brittany did eventually decide to go to this meeting, but it sounds like they both did not enjoy the meeting. They walked out of that and they both looked annoyed. I think for Brianna, I want to say her thing was just coming to terms with the fact that her mom is an addict. I think that in her mind, her mom's not an addict. Yeah, because her mom's been functioning for the last 30 years and helping her, you know, take her kids to school. And just think about that. You know, Roxanne's on these things, driving around, you know, living a normal life. And the amount of lost trust in like, what is my reality if like my mom has been,
it's you know, like
yes, that's got to be a lot to handle. But I do hope that they go again. I know that sometimes when you get a bad taste in your mouth with something, you never go back. But I think maybe they got a lot of information at once, and that was probably a lot for them. And maybe they needed a little bit more of a relaxed first session. I don't know how the session really went. It just sounds like they both kind of struggled with it. And that's just what it is, though, with addiction anyways, I would assume.
Right. It seems like they felt definitely overwhelmed after that meeting. And I do hope that they go back again, too, because I think they could get a lot of help from that. I've never been to Al-Anon, but I do have a parent who has an addiction. So I've kind of read up about Al-Anon. And a lot of their main message is, you know, making sure that you're aware of the boundaries and not that you're a person to serve the person who is an addict, even if they're in recovery and they need help, that you're not supposed to be codependent with them. And so it's important to let people have their independence in that aspect. And I think all that stuff would be really good for them to learn about recovery and all of that. But at the same time, I'm not sure that Brittany especially even has empathy for her mom right now to care about that.
Yeah.
A lot of people walk into Al-Anon thinking, they want me to learn more about this person who's already put all this stress on me. And now I have to be more of a support system and learn more. And it's really about learning how to take care of yourself when you're dealing with somebody like that. And I think they both could use that.
Well, the nice thing is they did learn a little bit from that. They said that they learned that she's going to have an episode apparently every 30 days. I'm like, I think Roxanne's might be a little closer between than 30 days, but it does make some sense because you know, Roxanne be having meltdowns all the time. And
I also wonder if part of her meltdowns are the times that she acts weird, because she has always had phases where she acts weird or spaced out, or she will remove herself for a while or have weird arguments, stand on tables, you know, all that stuff. It's not uncommon. She's always done this. She did this with Devoyne way back in 16 and pregnant days. This is her MO, but I'm wondering if maybe those were times too that she was possibly trying to get off of that stuff and maybe wasn't able to on her own, and she was going through withdrawals or irritability and things like that, so she went back on it. Because I imagine she's tried to get off of it on her own.
She might have. She might have. She might not have. I mean, the thing is she's been keeping it such a damn secret along with everything else in these girls' lives that you don't know. The person who knows is God and Roxanne. And I don't even know if Roxanne knows at this point. So
it's true. Yeah, when you lie to yourself that much, you start to believe it. So
yeah, you start to not even know what the dang truth even is. So it's sad for them that they have to go through this, but it's good to know that this is what's going on. Roxanne could have took this to her grave at this point. I mean, that woman is taking some things to her grave. We all know that.
You know she is. I mean, that woman has secrets. Woo!
Secrets on secrets. It's like I'd almost be nervous to ever have a conversation with my mom, especially when she gets serious. I gotta tell you something. I'd be like, yes, imagine all the stuff that'll come out with like guilt or something. I hope Roxanne is able to get in a clear mind and watch herself back maybe and realize that she's really done a disservice to her daughters, especially Brittany, especially publicly. You're going to air out all this stuff. I mean, oh my goodness, girl. She was getting her girls that check, but what cost?
She's getting her girls other things too, so it's a lot. Roxanne has done a lot.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what she's like when she comes out of this rehab, though. So
me too. We've never seen this woman in the grips of some kind of addiction to something. So we get into Mackenzie next, who shockingly is meeting Kas's mom, who has the same name as her own mom, which is Angie. It's some kind of weird fate. Yeah.
I think that's so cool.
I'm sorry, babe.
I saw the door open.
I was trying to.
He's on the floor trying to get the dogs out there. He's
I'm sorry. He's army crawling on the floor.
If you didn't say anything.
Oh my God! I saw the door open.
Babe, you could have played that off. My apologies. I'm gonna go ahead and leave.
No, thank you, Dean. Thank you so much.
Like I was at a good pace. I apologize.
So cute that they have that same name. You know, me and Dean's moms have not the same exact name, but that's so similar. When he told me his mom's name, I was like, yeah, his mom's name is Raquel and my mom's name is Rochelle. And I don't know if you saw them together at the wedding, but my mom is Italian and his mom is Dominican. And they look like the versions of each other in those countries.
Well, and their names are the versions of each other in those countries.
In a way,
just an accent.
Yeah, so it's just funny because they're both the same height and they're short. They're little women and they're both very friendly. It's just really funny. They're very similar, so it's just funny to see. It's just like the Dominican version of my mom in a way.
That's gotta probably feel really nice to have your spouse's mom be so similar to your own mom, even if it's just like,
in a way. Not totally. Right. But I just think that must be a comfort for Mackenzie. It would have made me cry, honestly, the first time I heard it. I'm sure she was like, because, you know, she misses her mom. And this woman does need to be her mother figure. Just like, you know, we were doing Love is Blind or whatever. We didn't do this season, but Zach, season 4, lost his mom. And Bliss's mom was such an amazing support for him. And she came in and was like, I will be your mom. It gives me chills. But it's just so nice when you have a support like that. And Casanio's mom just seems like a really good person. Like, she's ready to take on these grandkids as her grandkids.
She said she loved them before she met them.
Oh my God. And that's like more of a sentiment than their dad has ever given. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna call it like it is. I think we did find out this episode that Josh talks to Gannon and only Gannon.
Really? I didn't pay attention to that.
I feel like I heard that recently. Maybe I read it somewhere, but it might have even been in the episode. But apparently the only kid that Josh even has consistent communication with is his oldest child, which I think is really strange. And I think that that's kind of wrong. When you have 2 other kids, if you're making effort to communicate with one, you should make the effort to communicate with all of them.
All of them. Yeah.
I don't know if it's because Gannon's old enough to have his own phone, but either way, Gannon is in the same house as his siblings. You could be like, hey, let me talk to...
Yeah, pass the phone around.
So, I don't know, but Mackenzie and Casanio are doing a great job with them kids, and they don't need Josh.
They are. And they seem to have a really good visit with Casanio's mom. I don't think she's staying with them, but she seems to come over every morning. She stayed for like 2 or 3 days because we saw a couple different days, but she has like tea with Mackenzie every morning and they talk about what the plans are for the days. And she was asking, what kind of tea is this? And Mackenzie's like, I don't know. He got it from the Jamaican store.
It's like a wholesome scene. I like watching Mackenzie's scenes right now. It's a nice little switch up from Brianna and Amber's really heavier scenes lately. Yes. And you know what? She is growing on me. She's funny now that she's so sad to watch, because between her mom passing and Josh being the way he was, it was really hard to watch her the last time she was on the show. So I actually enjoy her scenes now. And I loved the conversation she had with Angie, having that tea. She's really trying to impress her, and you make her feel comfortable by having this Jamaican stuff around. And that's really nice. You don't always have to go out of your way to accommodate people like that. And it's nice that she feels the need to do that. And this woman's going to be her mom, her second mom. It's just a beautiful start to a relationship.
You can tell they're putting in the effort to pave a nice relationship between the two of them, and that's just not always the case. You kind of see the buildup of it throughout the episode. Kaz has a lunch with his mom, and his mom encourages him to, I think, propose the next day or the day after. They actually lie to Mackenzie's face. They say they're going to lunch, but they end up at a jeweler.
They might have went to lunch after the jeweler. That might not have been a stone cold lie. They just missed a stop. But they went to a jeweler that when we were watching this scene, you had your sister-in-law over. Yes. She eventually looked at the screen and she was like, oh my God, I go to that jewelry store.
They went to Jess Jewelers, and my sister-in-law's name is Jessica, so I could see her being attracted to Jess Jewelers. And then when she looked up, she's like, oh my God, I know that guy, like personally.
She's like, damn. She's like, I got his number. I could call him. So yeah, that's a little 6 degrees of separation for you at all times.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes of
how interesting. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Cass and his mom go look at rings. It looked like they really liked a certain ring. It was a beautiful ring. I don't know if it was the first one they looked at that made it seem that way, but I think that was just editing, because there's no way. I work for a jeweler. Usually people like to look around and look at a few options. So,
and I feel like if he's like the guy at this Just Jewelers place, then probably had a little presentation for them.
But the way MTV edits it, it makes it seem like they look that one. I want that one. But I know that's not how it probably played out. Castaño and his mom went to go pick out a ring, and I thought that was so cute that he brought his mom with him too. Because he can't ask Mackenzie's mom to help him, and I don't know if she's got a lot of friends or whatever. But I think that's really sweet that he brought his mom. I think that makes it even more special. And it's a good moment for them too. Everybody, when their child gets married, they feel all the feels, and she was probably so excited to be included in that, because she does live farther away too. So any little moment that she can have with him and with them, I think it's great. But he didn't buy the ring just yet. I think he might as well have just bought it and hold on to it, because he's like, I'm not gonna do it just yet, I'll come back for it and whatever. And it's like, if you got the money, which I'm sure you do, because you're looking at the ring right now, you just buy it and hold on to it. Usually you got a 30-day or a 60-day exchange policy, so you're all right.
Well, and his holdup was that he wanted to ask Mackenzie's dad, but I am of the opinion, and I mean, it's not completely necessary, but I feel like you should have the ring when you ask the dad. You should come correct. You should be like, can I have your daughter's hand in marriage? And this is the ring I'm going to give her. So he knows that you ain't messing around.
I think he might as well have got the ring also, because he knows the dad's probably going to tell him yes. Because remember the time we saw the dad come over, he was asking him to marry her.
He basically looks at Kaz with the most loving eyes, probably more than Mackenzie does.
I know. They both love him so much. And he knows Mackenzie's been begging for it.
Wait until Kaz's mom and Mackenzie's dad meet, and there's just going to be like a love puddle. Everyone's going to be so damn excited.
I know. So that's why I'm like, I don't see the point in waiting to get the ring, especially when you risk someone else buying it. Because if you love that ring, trust me. I mean, not that we can't always order the ring again, but it's still one of those things where it's like, I don't know what kind of jeweler he is. Sometimes there is only one in some things. So I don't know. But you risk not being able to get it when you want it, because maybe he already sold it. And then now you got to wait 2-3 weeks for a new one to come in.
Or the price might change or things like that. You never know. We have Janelle next. We saved the worst for last in this case.
We love Janelle over here. I mean, I'm glad that she's back, but
I'm here to watch her, but she's just
Janelle decided to go to Vegas, and I thought she was going to be looking at houses in Vegas, but instead she decided to meet up with Fat Joe to talk about weed. And you know what? He doesn't actually look exactly like Fat Joe, but he gives me Fat Joe vibes. You know, he sounds
Fat Joe
like
on
him.
Ozempic.
Yeah, like Ozempic Joe.
Yeah.
So she's with Zempic Joe talking about David and about her career, whatever the hell. And this guy seems pretty supportive. At first, I was thinking that this guy was probably seeing her or something. And I don't know. I don't really get that vibe anymore.
I saw a video recently online, and I didn't watch all of it, but that insinuated that they were dating and that they had recently broken up. Either way, these two have no vibe.
No chemistry.
Maybe they had broken up right before the camera started rolling and they just had to do this, but that's basically what it looked like. And it was just monotone. Yeah, David, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. Even later on, Janelle gets finessed for a dirt bike. It seems like month after month by David. She has to pay for this dirt bike that David is on the title for. But since they're married, they were both on the loan and David's not paying it. So they keep calling Janelle and she keeps getting finessed. So she has her friend August over for this scene too. And that man's response is nothing but, sounds like a good deal for him.
That's such a guy response. He's not wrong. David's been getting a great deal these last 6-7 years or so. Honestly,
the whole time.
It's only been a good deal for David. It's still a good deal for David. He's squawking on a boat and riding a dirt bike for free. I mean, that he's got all types of modes of transportation at this. You know, so wasn't it just a year ago that this girl was embarrassing herself by twerking on her truck for his damn redneck music video? You're just now coming to a little bit, Janelle.
She said, I'm tired of living this way. Like, I bet you are. This is probably exhausting. Like, please run far away from David. We've been asking you to do this for a while, but I don't know. At this point, they get prepared to go on this meeting. Janelle wants to start her own weed brand called This Time of Day.
She misquoted herself.
She did. They had to show the whole clip for us just to get the full effect because that is a classic quote. Probably one of the most popular quotes of Teen Mom ever. Yeah. And she misquoted herself, pitching her brand for that scene. Janelle.
It's like, how don't you have this memorized? It came out your own mouth.
I also want to know, though, she's talking to the brand woman who comes. She says that it's a family-owned business and that they're a Black family. And I want to know what kind of business they feel like they have working with Janelle, who has been racist AF on social media for decades. I would run so fast.
I had a different impression, and I thought the girl was just here to give Janelle inspiration. I didn't think she was here to actually work with her. Okay. I thought that she was brought in to tell her story.
Discuss.
Yeah, because Janelle was asking her questions and stuff, and Janelle doesn't have like a strain yet. I was thinking that at first Janelle was trying to just make her own strain and sell to dispensaries and stuff like that, which I think is probably more in her lane at this moment. I don't think it's good to just go big right when you start going. But it sounds like Janelle wants to open her own little dispensary type situation, like this Black-owned dispensary type situation. But yeah, this lady in her Amazon dress, because trust me, I almost bought that Amazon dress. This lady in her Amazon dress, maybe she didn't have no idea what she was walking into, but she told Janelle about her business, and I don't know if Janelle's trying to join that business or if she is just trying to get inspiration from this woman. I don't really know what the hell that was all about anyway.
It sounded impressive. She said they cultivated, distributed. They have consumption lounges, which Janelle really appreciated. So yeah, I don't know either. I think that's a good point. Maybe it was more of a consultation of what's available in the industry.
Might have been one of Zempic Joe's friends that's just helping him out here.
She said, nice to meet you.
Oh,
so yeah, because I made an assumption initially that they had known each other, and that's why Zempic Joe set the meeting up. But then when he answered the phone and she came up, he was like, "Oh, nice to meet you."
I don't know what kind of manager Ozempic Joe really is, but
he's a weird dude.
He's interesting, that's for sure.
I don't know.
That's pretty much all Janelle's scene really was. I mean, I do think it's wild that David, whatever. But I mean, that's David. Like Ozempic Joe said, good deal for him. Good for you, David. Get what you can while you can. Assume the law is coming for you. And I know you love that.
That is very true. I guess we'll see what Janelle ends up doing. Do we know where she's living right now? Is she in Vegas?
Not with her kids, obviously. We haven't seen her with her kids yet.
Ain't that the truth? She's just got like Daddy Jace at home now.
Yeah, yeah, like where are these kids? Who are they with? She don't get along with Barbara. I mean, is Jace really manning down the fort every time Janelle leaves? Because she's got this beautiful little weird ranch style Airbnb.
And her kids are nowhere to be found. They're not just off camera somewhere. They're not there.
She didn't even do a FaceTime call with Jace this time. We didn't see none of that.
True.
So
all these FaceTime for kids.
Is Tori there? Is Kiefer there? Is someone there? Is there another body other than the 14-year-old, 15-year-old kid that you accuse of having issues? Whatever.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Nathan just got arrested again too, so he's definitely not there.
No, he's never there. What happens on the land apparently kind of stays on the land in a way. But
kids stay on the land, everything.
Crazy David walking around. Now he's got a damn dirt bike to get to these kids even faster. This is not just Sasquatching around in the woods on the land like a damn big Sasquatch bearded man. At least
you could probably hear him coming if he's using the damn dirt bike. But anyways, so we have on the books for next time a dad's trip, which I'm excited to talk to you guys about. Anne and I have a watch to the episode. We're about to recap it right after this. That's going to be a fun thing to watch because Gary's going to spill the beans about the whole thing we've been waiting for the whole season, which is Leah wants to be adopted by Christine. No.
Isn't it crazy?
And then somehow it's going to get all trickled around. So that's going to be fun to talk about. And then something happens with Ryder. She has some kind of meltdown. So we'll hear about that.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, Chick Chatters, we'll catch you on the next recap.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.